It's time to go. Well, welcome to a very special episode of the third Saturday in October podcast. Getting a little tongue-tied, maybe a little nervous from, from just, I don't know, maybe trying to do a whole lot of things with a lot of technology all at once. So here's what's going on. I forgot to hit record yesterday. and so what we decided to do is, hey, let's just go live on Facebook. So this is the third Saturday in October podcast, your SEC tailgate podcast for the rest of us. I'm Tennessee Bradley. Across from me on Zoom is Alabama Chris. Chris, it's like deja vu all over again.
What a happy accident, man. Anytime that I get to hang out with you, the more, the merrier. So, and this allowed us to do something that you're a bigger man than I am, trying all this technology and interweaving them all, but I like the challenge. So let's go live. Let's have some fun and let's see what we can do with a live podcast.
Right. So, I mean, I guess this is going live. It says it's live on Facebook. I don't know. It's weird. I'm trying some switching stuff. So if all else fails, I'm recording it somewhere else and we'll put it back up. But
hey, I'm seeing it live here, which is great. It says live on Facebook. I'm also seeing it live down here on my iPad and watch us talking in a little bit of a delay, but this is so cool. I like it a lot.
As long as you don't get like sucked into some audio thing. It's like when the guys call into a radio show, but they don't turn down their radio. If you ever noticed, and then and so they're saying something and they're not listening to the phone, they're listening to themselves through the radio. It's like, look, just get a cassette, record it, whatever. But hey, look, today we got some bowls that have already happened. We got some more bowls, one happening right now, and just a lot going on. Come on, people. Why somebody? My brother is trying to call me while we're live. He should know better than that. Not that I told anybody we're going live, but
you know what's nice though is that so this is so we recorded yesterday, and I'm going to just go
recorded.
We talked to each other via Zoom yesterday. The recording button may have not gotten pushed, but I was telling you earlier that like if that were up to me to push the record button, we probably just wouldn't have a show because I would forget it all the time. But I will stay firm in whatever I picked yesterday. As far as the bowl picks that we're making this week, I will make sure that I say the same thing this week, even though going live, we've got two current games going on. So
we got
just
two.
For what it's worth.
I was only paying attention to one, but lots in store for today's live show. So we're just gonna see what we can do. So let's just dive right into the podcast. So,
ooh, man, you've got so many things working over there. I'm so impressed.
Right?
Giddy over here.
Well, so first of all, last week's bowl games, the games, leading up to and on New Year's Eve, Missouri didn't play, Arkansas didn't play. Let's just go ahead and say Florida didn't play.
Yeah, well put.
Man, they just they got pushed around. Now I'll say this: I didn't really watch the game. I saw some highlights. Kyle Trask had a couple interceptions, a pick six. Look, the pick six when it's an out route. On the sideline, there's no way you can catch that defender really, unless the receiver can tackle him immediately.
Because usually they are running after the ball, and so they already have that running momentum. And if they are to connect and grab the ball, especially on that little out route, they're only 5 yards off the line of scrimmage anyway. And so by the time they catch it, they are already in a sprint.
Yeah, they're gone. And look. I put that on the quarterback because that's a throw. If there's a chance it's getting intercepted, look, that's a 14-point swing because you could have scored 7, maybe 8 points on a touchdown. Instead, it's going the other way for a touchdown. So that's
Yeah.
on the quarterback. There was another one in the end zone that was thrown short. Again, I put that on the quarterback. The other interception, um, receiver got both hands on it. I believe it got tipped up, and the
Yeah.
defender caught it. That's not on the quarterback. So if it was
Yeah.
up to me, I'd give Kyle Trask 2 interceptions, but he
Yeah.
hadn't thrown a lot of those this year, and I think Oklahoma just took advantage of it in 55-27 or something like that. 55 points. Look, we knew Florida's defense wasn't good. Oklahoma really just took advantage of what Florida gave them and made Florida not look good. I'm not sure what that says about this Alabama team, though, coming out of the SEC championship.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like that Florida took all of their momentum and were pushing towards the national championship. And once they started stumbling, they just continued to fall.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like they wanted to get back up. I mean, I really feel bad at this time of the year in this day and age of football when you have especially underclassmen, coaches, fans that want to have that good game, but then you've got a couple of people that are your stars. And like the Kyle Pitts, Tony, they're I think tight end or wide receiver, wide receiver, and a couple of other guys that are just outstanding stars on their team that decided that they were going to get ready for the draft. And to a degree, I understand, but then also it's like it's oftentimes the last time that you will be on the field with your teammates. It is the last time that you're suiting up for your team. Your fans get to see you, whether it's on TV with a socially distanced world or a few people in the stadium. And so it's an amazing opportunity to show off one more time. But also, you've got agents, parents, friends, family members that are speaking into your ear that are saying like, yeah, you could go play this game and it would be great. But what if you clip an ACL and the next thing you know, your draft stock goes from a first rounder to a fifth rounder, or you're out indefinitely and you don't know if you're going to get like, so I understand, but as a college football purist that wants to watch it and wants to watch players play for the love of the game, it's a bummer when all the business starts to seep in, because it seems like NFL is the business of football, or
Yeah.
it's like football plus business. College, it's like the passion, the camaraderie. The players are younger when they're there, and so it's like for the love of the game sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it's a little sad to see that kind of going by the wayside as the years move on.
Booger McFarland, I guess, was it Dwayne Haskins for the Washington football team?
Yeah.
Released by Washington, and Booger went off on just NFL players in general, but saying, look, you have to treat this like a business. Too many guys come in here, treat it like they're just building their brand. He said, no, you have to show up every day and do the right things. And what something that he said that it was always a question for me, but he answered it. He said, these guys aren't thinking about injuries. They're not worried about going out there and getting injured. It just doesn't cross their mind. It's a job. And I wonder how that works in college, because you've seen guys opt out of bowls in the past because they've got, the potential to go high in the draft or just in the draft at all, and they don't want to get hurt. So they're going to go do workouts. Part of me is like, the best workout, the best audition for playing games in the NFL is playing games in college. And putting one more on your resume against what's supposed to be a fairly evenly matched team. I mean, that's what bowls are supposed to do. It's supposed to match teams up so that you get a good game.
Yeah.
They're really trying to create good product. But this year, a lot more opt-outs because of COVID. I kind of get that because the SEC has their own version of a bubble. The ACC has their own version of a bubble. They have their protocols. Okay, everybody understands those. And then you're thrown into a bowl game just a few days, maybe a week and a half after your season concludes and you're not really sure what the protocol is for the other team and all that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
I understand that. As a fan, I don't like seeing players opt out, but I really have no say in the matter.
Yeah.
But I wish it didn't happen. I also wish injuries didn't happen in football, but alas. But
Yeah.
okay.
Speaking of those opt-outs, just wanted to quickly mention too that Coach Dan Mullen did a good job of ruffling feathers again when he got on the post-game presser and said that Florida could have opted out of the game because of the amount of players that opted out.
Oh, they
So
did. They opted out. Absolutely.
yeah, from a playing perspective, yeah,
Yeah.
55-20 is kind of acting like you weren't even there. But it was just a bummer because as an SEC fan, we host an SEC podcast. And as much as I have my allegiances in both the SEC West and Alabama and the SEC East with the Tennessee Volunteers, I want to see the SEC as a whole do as good as possible. Go out there and compete, knock it out of the park. But it's kind of strange when we have this time where the SEC and the ACC are kind of considered the elite two conferences, and it's arguable as to which one comes out on top year in, year out. But because there's so much talent there, by the time the SEC and the ACC, well, I'll just go back to just talking about the SEC. By the time the SEC gets to the bowl games, all of those stars that make the SEC who they are, they're now going to try to become a first or second round draft pick. And so I wonder if we could look back, and again, this isn't a podcast or a live show for stats, but if we could go back and look at those stats to see how the SEC underperforms in bowl games because their stars are now no longer playing because they're getting ready for the NFL. That it's just an interesting take on the SEC seems to be dominant, but not really show up and play in those bowl games. And so that's used for other conferences to say, see, we're beating SEC teams, but you have to also consider that all those SEC teams are not playing with a full roster, especially with their stars.
You know, that kind of made me think of something somebody said the other day, that with the playoffs, that none of the other bowls really matter. And I'm not so sure. I know as a Tennessee fan, if Tennessee makes it to a bowl, I'm excited. Now, granted, since the playoffs began, Tennessee has not been in a position where, you know, hey, we're in the SEC championship. If we lose, we may still be able to get in, kind of thing. Or, you know, lose to the maybe our only loss is to the SEC champion, and so we get in as a one-loss team. Tennessee hadn't even been remotely close. At that point, I kind of understand, oh, you know, I'm not as excited about, I don't know, about the Orange Bowl as I would have been if it were a playoff game, kind of thing. But I don't know. The who was it? Coastal Carolina played maybe UC Liberty, and you know, I don't know that I cared about that game. But if you're a Liberty fan or a Coastal Carolina fan, I bet you're all in. So they're kind of making the case, hey, we either need bowl games or playoff. We can't do both. And I'd say we can do both. But
I have a thought with oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No.
Just with for years I have been a non-playoff fan, or not extending the playoffs from the 4 teams. I thought, okay, let's try this and let's go. I mean, for years people wanted more than just one championship when it was the BCS. They wanted more games, and so now we've moved to 3 games that lead up, or that call the national champion the national champion, unless you're UCF and you don't even have to be invited, but you can still say that you are. But my recent thought is starting to change, and I think that, again, I'm here for anybody to argue this idea, but I think the bowls could be as important as they've always been, and some of those lesser bowls could now be more important than they previously were, because in the BCS era, you only have one bowl game that's going to crown the national champion. So teams play in that. Everything else is just for the love of the game. We're in a bowl kind of thing. But if we extended it to 8 teams, or even extended it to 16 teams for a college football playoff in a kind of a bracket style Sweet 16 like college basketball does, that the champion is still going to be crowned. But now we have, and maybe if you're a conference champion or if you're undefeated or something like that, you get a bye for the first round or something like that. So that way it doesn't require every team to now tack on 3 more games to an already long season as far as their health and longevity goes. But if you then make the other, some of the other bowl games semifinals or quarterfinals, now you're increasing the likelihood of people wanting to watch those games because they mean more. And then some of those lesser bowls that you see in like the first couple of weeks around Christmas, a couple of weeks leading up to the new year, those now become important because those teams that didn't make it to the Sweet 16, so to speak, now there are bigger names that are being invited to those lower bowls, which means better attendance, better TV ratings, and just hopefully more money across the board. So I think that expanding it could provide a potential for all the bowl games to see an uptick in interest and importance as well.
Yeah, something that we ran into this year with games being delayed and pushed back into mid-December were exams. And remember, these are student athletes, and they do have to go take exams. At least I'm told they have to go take exams. Maybe somebody else is taking them for them. I don't know. They can take that up with the NCAA. But I think it was the game against Vandy. So it's the next to last game of the season for Tennessee. And I think Vandy was missing some players because they had to go take exams on that Saturday during game time. I can't remember if it was that or they saying, hey, they've already taken exams, and so they've been studying for those this week, whatever, because it used to be that I guess the SEC championship kind of happened around exam time, but maybe long enough after that it wasn't as much of an issue. But extending the playoffs, you're going to be kind of pushing into exams just because you're going to be creeping into mid-December. So that'd be an interesting thing. But also, so Missouri canceled. Florida didn't show up. Arkansas canceled. Mississippi State played Tulsa yesterday. Look, I had picked Mizzou to win. I'd picked Florida to win. I'd picked Arkansas to win. And I picked Tulsa to win. So I am 0-for in my bowl picks. Mississippi State beat Tulsa. Again, this is not a stat show, but Mississippi State, the only stat they won was the turnover battle. They got outrushed, outpassed, everything but outscored, and luckily, thanks to their defense, who would have thought that the air raid offense would lead to good defense? But that's what happened yesterday. Yeah. Mississippi State coming away with a win over Tulsa. Congrats to you Air Raid Pirates.
Yeah, again, this whole season for me, Mississippi State has been the biggest head scratcher, maybe of my college football watching career, of just like getting excited. Mike Leach is coming in, bringing in his air raid offense. That first game against LSU, they lit up the scoreboard. It looked like that everybody was going to be fearing Mississippi State, and then they decided to not do that at all anymore.
Well, we thought
you just were ready for them to not succeed, and then they started doing it again. It's weird.
Yeah, we thought Mississippi State, wow, look how good they are. What we didn't realize is, wow, LSU, look how bad they are.
Good point. Yeah.
But LSU, I don't know. A bad season that was starting to get away from them. I mean, they kind of made a shoestring tackle there at the end, thanks to a thrown shoe by a Florida defender, setting up a win for them and getting to play spoiler a bit. Because had Florida not lost that game, maybe they're in instead of Notre Dame after a loss to Alabama in the SEC championship, one that was pretty close.
Yeah.
Who
Yeah,
knows?
it is interesting now, and things may change by the end of today, which is Friday, January the 1st, 2021. Feels fun to say that now. It just feels good to be outside of 2020, to be honest. That
Yes.
last year was such a dumpster fire. But things could change as far as records go. But if you look at the SEC standings in the East, currently Georgia has a better record than Florida, who won the East. So that's always an interesting thing
Well,
because of how they ended up the season.
at the moment, Georgia is let's see this updates. Georgia is losing to Cincinnati in the 5 minutes left in the third, 21-10. Georgia coming out in the black jerseys, and it's not looking good.
Yeah.
I blame
the teams themselves look good. The unis look smooth, but the play is not so smooth.
Now, I will say that the red helmets with the black jerseys, not a big fan. If you're gonna do the black jerseys, do a black hat. It's just, I think it's just gonna pull all that together a little bit better. But let's get into picks for the remaining SEC bowl games, well, let's start with Georgia Cincinnati. Chris, who did you have in this one?
And again, just wanted to mention, if those of you are on live, we did record yesterday, had a little flub there, and so we're recording again today. But I'm going to still make my same predictions as I did yesterday, even though the scoreboard is going to go against it. Again, now that our Pick'em League is wrapped for the season, we're just picking straight up who's going to win. And so I picked Georgia in this one. I figured that they needed to prove to themselves and the rest of the country and the rest of the SEC why they're Georgia, with Kirby Smart on the sidelines and that dominant couple of years that they've had. But and so I picked Georgia. It doesn't look like it's going that way right now, losing by 11 points currently late in the third. But I did pick Georgia, and so I'm going to stick with my guns.
Yeah, I picked Georgia as well. And yeah, look, it's 2021. My New Year's resolution is hit record on the podcast. So hopefully Georgia can come back and win us a pick there. Look, it's always the first one. You just got to get that first down. That's always the toughest one. Then also happening right now, also not going the SEC's way, is Auburn versus Northwestern. This is the VRBO Citrus Bowl. I'm not going to say it the way VRBO wants me to say it.
Do they want you to say it verbo?
They do. Their commercials say that. I
think that they're trying to shoehorn that thing in.
Yeah, they're just dumb. I'll be honest. I picked Northwestern, and here's why. Yeah. This is before we knew the score. You just kind of have to take our word for it that we made these picks yesterday. With Auburn having a new head coach, but he's not coaching yet. Their interim head coach, not sure if he's going to be around next year. Not sure how that staff's going to look just quite yet. I said, you know what? I don't think Auburn's going to be able to really pull it together. I don't think there's anybody to rally the troops there in the plains, and I think they fall to Northwestern. How are you feeling about this, Chris?
Yeah, very similarly to what you just said. I thought yesterday that because of their the way that the season ended for them, with firing of Malzahn and then eventually hiring Brian Harsin, that things are maybe hopefully looking up for the Plains Tiger / Eagles. But yeah, I thought that Northwestern, because of Auburn not having a lot of momentum and desire to, not a lot to play for, I thought that Northwestern had a chance, especially like if you just look at their just wins and losses, 6-2 for the Northwestern Wildcats, 6-4 for the Auburn Tigers. Again, oftentimes you have to take into consideration who they've played throughout the season, but not a lot of momentum for the Tigers heading into the VRBO Citrus Bowl.
Yeah. Then this afternoon, it's maybe the longest name in bowl history. We've got the Rose Bowl game presented by Capital One, college football playoff semifinal, should be played in Pasadena, but it's being played in Arlington, Texas at Jerry World's AT&T Stadium because California can't open any doors. Bowl. Did I already say bowl?
Yeah. Well, I think somewhere in there you may have said something. Oh yeah, you said Rose Bowl, but I mean that was several minutes ago.
So look, the line has actually changed. Yesterday it was 19.5. I am seeing 20 points that Alabama is favored to win over Notre Dame. Chris, who do you think wins this game?
First of all, I just want to say, roll tide, baby! I'm so excited and nervous. I need massive amounts of CBD just to calm me down. I need CBD for the CFP so I don't pass out. But because whenever Bama takes the field, I'm nervous. If they're playing Tulane, they're playing Vanderbilt, I'm still nervous because what's going to happen? Who's going to get hurt? So, but we have made it to the second most important game of the season, in my opinion, which is the Rose Bowl. Bama takes it. Bama wins. I don't know, though. I know that I'm just picking if they win or lose this week, which is a little bit different than what we usually do. I don't know that they cover. Again, this is one game in a series of 2 games to be the national champions. And so I don't know if they play it a bit safe. Now, oftentimes Saban doesn't have a history of playing it safe. And so I hope that we play lights out from start to finish. But I do understand if there is a sizable lead, that maybe you need to rest some of the starters for a game that's not too far away if they're going to make it into the national championship. So I take Bama, but I don't know that they cover. What about you?
Yeah, I'm taking Bama. The way this line is moving, I'm not so sure. I don't know. I think Notre Dame wants to play for some pride, but I don't think the Notre Dames can keep up with them. So I'm going with Alabama. Then let's see what else. That game's been played. That was canceled. That's been played. That was canceled. Here we go. We got the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. We've got NC State taking on Kentucky. Kentucky is a 2.5 point favorite. Not sure why. Maybe because I don't know. I guess just because they're in the SEC. Because Kentucky has a 4-6 record. NC State has an 8-3 record. I'm going with NC State.
Yeah, I agree with you. And other than the fact that my home team, the Alabama Gulf Packy, what is it? Boogie boarding Boogie boarding pachyderms.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, the Gulf Boogie boarding pachyderms, I think is what I've been calling them.
Even though my home team has made it into the Rose Bowl, which is amazing. I mean, it's the Rose Bowl, and in any other year, I mean, this may have been an inspiration for me to buy a Southwest ticket out to LA and try to make it into the Rose Bowl because it would have been amazing to see. I was jealous a couple years ago when Georgia made it to the Rose Bowl, but here we are, even though we're playing in Texas, which is fine. I feel like that the Jerry World has kind of become Alabama's home away from home. It seems they've had a couple of season openers and playoff games in the last couple of years. So even though that my Bama boys are in the Rose Bowl, I think my favorite one to say is the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. It's just fun to say Tax Slayer Gator Bowl.
It sure is. It sure is.
But I agree with you. I think NC State, I mean, again, 23rd in the country, and they're playing a 4-6 Kentucky that didn't meet all the expectations that they had. And I know these Vegas betting folks know a lot more than me. I'm just the guy that loves to watch the games, even though I don't sometimes understand these spreads. And so to see that Kentucky is a 2.5 point favorite is a bit odd. Yeah. But again, maybe I'm surprised.
Well, I don't know that the Vegas guys know it. I think they just, if it's all about the money and they just want to win. So they're just going to move that line to kind of adjust. Then we've got in the Outback Bowl. Look, I don't know that this bowl's name has ever changed, and I love it. It's just the Outback Bowl. We have playing for the Bloomin' Onion, the Ole Miss Lane Train Express, going up against the Coconut Shrimp for the Indiana Hoosiers. Indiana a 9-point favorite, but give me that Bloomin' Onion.
Bloomin' Onion all day. I think that they should just rename the bowl Bloomin' Onion Bowl. because that would be nice. We would all know it's Outback.
Yeah.
So if they called it, give me that bloomin' onion bowl. It just sounds delicious and
It-
something that I
it sure
want to
does.
say when I'm at the table. Give me that bloomin' onion bowl. I want it right now.
Yeah.
I'm taking Ole Miss. I want to see that Lane Train Express roll one more time before the end of the season, and I think they've got a good chance. I mean, Indiana had a good season, but again, they've just played 7 games, and Ole Miss has looked great at times, has looked lackluster at other times. But I'm pulling for an SEC win here.
Yeah, I look, I'm really craving a bloomin' onion. I'm starting to get hungry for lunch. So hey, come on, Lane Kiffin. Then finally, the last pick we're going to be making in the Capital One Orange Bowl, we've got Texas A&M taking on the North Carolina Tar Heels. I don't know where you get the name Tar Heels from, a sheep, but hey, more power to you.
I think that's another one of those things, and like Crimson Tide, and they're an elephant, or Auburn Tigers, but the cry is War Eagle. That's just one of those. We're the Tar Heels, and we're a ram or a goat or a sheep or whatever they are.
Yeah, it was just a bad call. So, but I am going all SEC on this one. Going with Texas A&M. Come on, Aggies! They're 8-1 going up against an 8-3 North Carolina team. This is the SEC versus the ACC. It's the game. These are the games that we love to see. Let's just see how it shakes out. But I'm going with A&M in the Orange Bowl.
Yeah, I am too. I feel like that this is A&M's chance to show everybody why the college football playoff committee should have put them in that number 4 spot instead of Notre Dame. So yes, I think that Texas A&M makes a statement piece right here at the end of the season to not only show everybody that the committee got it wrong, but also that they are here and here to stay in the SEC West and going to be dominating next year as well. So again, I think we talked about this a bit yesterday, but I think if the Aggies were in any other conference, that they would have probably been vying for that top spot. But because they play in the same conference in the last couple of years as the LSU Bayou Bengals and the Alabama Boogie Board and Pachyderms, that they find themselves at a place where they weren't able to play for it all when they probably could have if they were in another conference. So I think that Texas A&M makes a statement today.
Yeah,
or tomorrow.
I think you're right. And look, we've made our picks, and Chris, there's a game happening this afternoon that is big for you. We will see what happens, but first we want to know, what time is it?
It's time to pregame.
Oh, and
yeah, boy!
I totally messed that one up, but
tailgate, man cave, living room, pregame, burgers, ribs, chicken wings, chip and dip, pregame, Scotch and water, IPA, Coca-Cola, pregame, slaying dogs, EA, cornhole, pregame. How you gonna watch?
Oh, I'm gonna be watching it, my friend. You know I'm gonna be watching.
Well, I don't know how that happened. Look, new technology, but hey, we're doing pretty well for no test run. But Chris, I want to know, how are you watching the game this afternoon?
Man, I am going to move from this seat where I record the podcast about 15 feet that way to where our TV is already showing the Auburn Tigers currently losing right now to Northwestern. And I'm going to park my booty there for the rest of the day. Every now and then I'll get up to refill my drink. Every now and then I'll get up to maybe use the restroom. I may put on an adult diaper. I don't know. This is one of the last chances I'm going to have to watch college football this season, and I'm going to do it with gusto. Hopefully my family will be around. I'll probably be ignoring them a lot when the Alabama game is going on because, again, I will be let's just be honest. I'll be halfway to high with the CBD that I'll have pulsing through my veins. But I'm going to be watching it. I'm going to have we're going to do some Chinese food. No, I'm sorry, Mexican food. We had Chinese food last night for New Year's. Let me take that back. No, we're doing the whole ham and black-eyed peas and collard greens thing. I don't even know. I was going to pull some leftovers out of the fridge, but no, we got a meal planned and some Rice Krispie treats to top it off.
I don't think you've slept in 2021 yet. I think
I've almost met my stand goal, and it's barely It's not even 2 p.m. yet.
Oh man. Well, it went from Chinese to Mexican to heck no, it's ham and black eyed peas. Look,
what about you? Maybe you have it more under control than I do today. I'm nervous.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm just impressed at your setup because, well, one, I think starting out 2021 in an adult diaper is not a bad idea. Seeing how 2020 went, look, if there are any surprises, you don't have to worry about anything downstairs. So, but also I just love that you can be watching the game on the TV, get up and kind of move over to the kitchen. You never have to take your eyes off the TV.
Yeah.
You know, just open the fridge, don't look away. Oh, there it is. Refill your drink and get going.
Yeah, we also installed that TV with the articulating arms, so you can move it a bit. So
That's
I can
a big
get
word. I was just gonna say swivel.
Oh yeah, swivel. And I'll be honest with you. We may need to edit this out of the podcast when we if we edit it for later. But I can also visit a restroom and not have to move the TV at all and still have a good view. So I'm not saying that I recommend that strategy, especially living in a house with other people that want to look at you as a respectable adult, but it can be done.
Well, I mean, Mike Vrabel's son did it, so I mean
that's true. Yes.
looks like he's taking a Lamar Jackson while his dad is picking in the draft. So yeah, I have barely watched any bowl games, really just watching highlights. But hey, you know, I'll probably tune in to some of these semifinal games, and of course the national championship. But hey, I just gotta say, we're not doing a virtual tailgate this week. We can't even get our podcast together, much less figure out when to do a tailgate. So just with the holiday, everything going on this weekend, no virtual tailgate. Likely doing a virtual tailgate for the national championship game. So tune in for that. Hey, Chris, are you gonna try to make an appearance at halftime of the Alabama game? Maybe.
Yes, I'm going to go live right back here on Facebook Live. For those of you watching live or tuning in here, I'm going to give my quick update just for a few minutes, just to take a breather. It's going to be good to just like breathe deeply and have a good conversation. So going to go live just for a few minutes during halftime. But right back here, Facebook at the Third Saturday in October podcast Facebook group.
Nice. Well, we may just be leading you through some breathing exercises depending on how that game is shaking out at halftime. But hey, Chris, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, man. And again, I think that this was the best thing that could have happened for today. I love that we got to get back on here and chat, and we'll repost this. And again, any time that I get to hang out with you and especially talk college football is a wonderful day. So I'm glad that this happened, and I'm glad that we're here right now.
Yeah. So look, you can find us on social media at TSIO Pod here on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. You can find us on YouTube as well, where we broadcast the podcast. You can find all of our links to social media at thirdsaturdayiNoctober.com, where you can get our Tailgating 101 cheat sheet. Look, tailgating was a little different this year. Next year, well, later this year, in about 8-9 months, hopefully we'll get back to regular tailgating. Get that cheat sheet so you know how to have the best tailgate. Also, sign up for our Pick'em League for next year. We'll get it all figured out so we don't have any hiccups like we did this year. I think CBS, who is doing our Pick'em League, just got mad that they lost the SEC contract to ESPN and said to heck with it. You can also sign up for our virtual tailgate so that when the next one rolls around, we'll email you the link. You just open it up and hop on right there, all over at thirdsaturdayiNoctober.com. It has been a wild 2020 season, but it's not over yet. We still got just a little bit left, and I'm really excited about that. So, Chris, I want to wish you a happy new year. Good riddance to 2020. Totally. And let's try to make 2021 just a little bit sweeter. So I'm going to end that by saying roll Vols.
Roll balls, baby, and roll tide today. Whew, I'm pumped up. You know, I want to say quickly as the music is pumping up, go enjoy it with your family. Say goodbye to 2018.